Since we're talking about babies today, I figured I'd bring on my baby for you guys at home. Little Amy. There is an old adage in the world of film and television that says, don't work with children or animals, because 80% of the time they will fuck up your scene every time. Apparently Clint Eastwood took this idea to heart while directing American Sniper, because when one scene called for the main character to cradle his newborn baby, they used a plastic doll instead. If while watching that clip you found yourself stifling a laugh, you're not alone, because test audiences who watched an early cut of the film literally burst out laughing when that scene happened in cinemas.
I actually can't believe how fake it looks.
It's kind of impressive that they watched that back and went, yeah, this is fine. This is the shot that we're going to put into our movie. And like, I don't get how someone like Clint Eastwood, who is notorious for like his perfectionism, like looked at that and went, I'm okay with this. Like he sees this man like just awkwardly struggling with this obvious plastic baby, like trying to like emote, and it's like, how did you watch the dailies for this and go, that's it, that's our Oscar right there? The thing that makes it so amazing though is that that scene is like supposed to be like a gut-wrenching emotional sledgehammer to the ball sack. Like the context of that scene is Chris Kyle, the guy Bradley Cooper is playing, is seeing his newborn daughter and he's cradling her in his arms, like overwhelmed with the emotion that he's seeing this life he created as his wife is telling him that their marriage is breaking apart.
You're my husband. You're the father of my children, but they're the ones that pull you back. If you think this war isn't changing you, you're wrong.
It could have been a bag of sugar. It could have, like, if it had been a bag of sugar, like the baby I was holding at the start of this video as a joke, that was a bottle of amaretto in a towel, looked more realistic. Because I was, you can see it, you can see his like cold, dead plastic baby eyes. I feel so bad for Bradley Cooper because he was acting his little heart out in that scene, and the only thing you can look at is like the big plastic monstrosity in his arms. Like, it could not have looked more ridiculous if he'd have like midway through the scene dropped the baby and punted it out of a window. In my head, after that scene ended, everyone who was working on the movie at that point just glanced really nervously over to Clint Eastwood, who's apparently notorious for never doing more than one take, and he's like really hands-on with his actors and really doesn't like it when they don't do exactly what he asked them to do. And they're all looking at him thinking, he's got to say something about this. Like, Clint cannot be happy about this performance. And I imagine that he walked over like to Bradley Cooper, and Bradley Cooper was expecting to say like, good performance, but we need to get rid of the baby. Put his hand out and then shook the baby's hand. And went, that's some damn good acting there, you've got a future in this business. And just walk back out, and everyone's there like, oh fuck it. And then the next day they come in and the baby's in the director's chair wearing the director's hat and sunglasses.
Who are you?
Let's just say I'm the boss.
For anyone curious about why exactly Bradley Cooper is holding an obviously fake plastic baby in that scene, according to producer Jason Hall, they did have 2 real babies lined up for him to hold. The problem was the first baby didn't turn up and the second baby had a fever. Rather than move filming that scene to another day when they had, you know, a baby, they decided for some reason to just give Cooper a plastic baby and told him to roll with it. And somehow that shot made it into the film.
I couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't believe that we were working with the plastic baby. Like, I was just like, this is nuts.
I still don't get why they didn't just cover up the baby's head.
Oh, you mean like we did at the beginning of this video as a joke? You know, I'm actually curious, Brad, when you're making this video, put a screenshot of me holding that fake baby, which everyone now knows was a bottle of booze, and just put a screenshot of Bradley Cooper holding the baby in American Sniper. And it's like the audience, like, you know, this was something we threw together in 10 seconds as a joke. This is a multi-million-dollar Hollywood production helmed by Clint fucking Eastwood.
Surely it would have been better to have just found another baby.
Probably, but working with babies is especially difficult in Hollywood because they can only work for 15 minutes at a time by law. So like, if you get a baby, you can have it for 15 minutes and then you're not allowed to shoot it anymore. So like, obviously that's why they get 2 babies, because then you've got half an hour of potential shooting time. So like, the cost of getting another baby and the difficulty of finding one to only have half an hour to work with it, they probably just thought, maybe if we use a doll, no one will notice. Yeah, good thing, like, the fact we're making a video all about that baby and the fact people watching it for the first time in cinemas burst out laughing the moment it appeared on screen. I'm gonna guess people noticed.
But watch him wiggle the arm, look to try and make it look like a live baby. He does a wiggle with the arm.
That'd be my turning point. When you're watching like Clint Eastwood at the back going for the first screen and let's see how it goes. And he gets this gut-wrenching scene.
And everybody in the audience laughs out loud. You'd think maybe I can scrape together a bit of money to go reshoot this particular scene.
Or to at least CG in a real baby's face, because at least that would have probably looked a little better.
A CGI baby.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have looked much better, but it would look better than a non-moving baby. What makes this scene doubly hilarious is that it completely negated all of the effort Bradley Cooper put into physically portraying Chris Kyle.
So how much effort did he actually put in?
Bradley Cooper was insanely committed to portraying this guy as realistically as possible. One of the first things he did upon getting the role was visit Kyle's actual father, apologise that he didn't look enough like him, and then vow that the next time they met, he would have to do a double take.
Why did he feel like he had to apologise?
Because Cooper at the time was nowhere near as buff and huge as Chris Kyle was at his peak, and a lot of people said that's why he couldn't portray him. So obviously Chris Kyle was known as being a very large and physically intimidating guy, and Cooper wasn't at the time. So he wanted to assure his father that I am committed to portraying your son as he was in life, and I will be going to the gym first thing tomorrow morning and hitting those weights until I look like your son.
So how did he get into shape?
Well, basically he did this thing called working out really, really, really hard, and he went to the gym every single day for 10 weeks and followed Kyle's actual training regimen to obviously get the same physicality as he did, while listening to Kyle's actual gym playlist and occasionally staring longingly at a photo of Kyle with his shirt off that he pinned to the mirror. That's how committed he was. Like, every time he was working out, he was staring at a picture of Christopher Kyle, so he's like, that's what my goal is, and I'm not going to stop until I get there.
So I'm assuming it wasn't just the physicality that he was trying to replicate.
No, he also wanted to get down all of Kyle's mannerisms and his manner of address and the way he spoke. So to that end, he watched footage of him in interviews, listened to recordings of him talking, endlessly on a loop while studying them and making notes, so he could perfectly replicate the manner in which Kyle spoke, his little vocal and physical tics when he talked to people, the way he walked, and all that sort of stuff. It's ridiculous, the amount of the attention to detail Cooper showed when going I need to get everything about this man just right. As an example of how dead on Cooper's impression of Kyle was after he'd hit the gym and he'd studied all of this footage, Kyle's own friends said they had to do a double take when they saw Cooper in costume because they genuinely thought it was him. It was pretty high praise, isn't it? You look, sound, and move around and just generally act so much like our close friend. We genuinely thought you were him when we saw you in costume. As an example of how committed Cooper was to always portraying Kyle in the absolute best light possible, it's rumoured that at the end of every shot he ever filmed, he would walk over to the cameraman and ask, "Did I look big?"
Why did he ask that?
It's because obviously Kyle's physicality was so integral to his character. He was known primarily as being a big, huge, buff dude, and Cooper was like, yeah, this is one of the main things people knew about Kyle. He's this big bear man. I need to look as massive as possible at all times on screen, so he'd just go over to the camera and go, did I look big? And yeah, you look pretty big, but could I look bigger? I don't know, maybe. Well, we should do it again then.
See, for the faint of heart, most men, they wash out, they quit.
I'm not most men, sir. I don't quit.
Imagine how pissed off Cooper was after all the effort he put in when he turned up on set that day and Clint Eastwood handed him a plastic fucking baby, and he's got to stand there holding it with this grimace on his face before they start filming, just thinking to himself, I've been in the gym for 10 weeks. I studied hours of footage of this guy talking. I emulate his mannerisms and way of speaking so well, his own family can't tell the difference between us when I'm in costume. And now I've got to act opposite this plastic made in China piece of shit. What the hell do you want from me? Action! It really does highlight how distracting the baby was, that despite all the effort Cooper put in to physically portray this man as accurately as possible, the only thing you can do when you watch that scene, you don't see a man breaking down emotionally. You don't see a guy just being overwhelmed at the sight of his newborn daughter. You see a guy holding a plastic baby. People in the audience aren't going, my God, Cooper's acting the shit out of this scene. You just go, Baby's fake. The thing is, as much as we're laughing about how ridiculous the scene was, I don't think it really impacted it all that much because it did win quite a few awards. Although I'm guessing it didn't win one for visual effects.
There is a trend of using fake babies because they're so hard to get hold of.
It is, yeah. Like I mentioned in the video, you can only film a baby for about 15 minutes per day by law. So obviously it's just a lot easier, just CGI that shit. Or get a fake baby like they did for American Sniper. But holy crap, do they always look terrible. And they're always terrifying as well. So the one from Twilight jumps out in my mind. I've not seen the film, but I've seen that horrendous amalgamation. Like, that thing's a Dark Souls boss. It's terrifying. There's some other great ones. Like, one of my personal favourites is the baby from My Hero. Like, people watching might not remember this, like, because we've got a lot of Americans. Basically, it was this British sitcom starring Ardal O'Hanlon, who's about a superhero who like has a secret alter ego as just a dumbass. Midway through that series, they do the thing where you know a series is dead, when they introduce a baby. And they do actually get in like a real baby and a real toddler to film scenes. And they're very obviously filmed in such a way that we filmed like half an hour of static footage of this child and we just splice it in whenever we need it. Yeah. But whenever the baby needs to talk, because obviously the baby talks, because it's a super baby, they just put an adult's mouth over its mouth using really bad, crappy CGI.
Love you, darling.
Love you, Mummy.
And it just looks horrendous. Obviously, babies roll around and move about a lot. The mouth doesn't. So the head's moving around, the mouth doesn't, and it's like, oh.
It's like the annoying orange.
Yeah.
The worst one I've seen is from Son of the Mask.
I've not seen Son of the Mask.
Yeah, I'll throw some clips in just for you, but basically the kid's meant to have the mask's powers.
Ah, right.
So it's like CGI for most of the film.
So it's like a horrific CGI baby. Okay, well, we can let the audience decide which horrific CGI baby do you think is worse? My money is on the My Hero one, because even though it's not as bad as the Twilight one, there's just something more off-putting about it being a real baby's head with like a human adult mouth on it. That really freaks me out. But maybe the Son of the Mask one's worse, so let the audience decide.
We'll also open the floor up, see if they can suggest any that are
Yeah,
even
is there any
worse.
worse CGI babies that you can think of?
We'll announce the winner in a video like a year from now.
Oh yeah, when we remember to do it.